here we go. Here we go. I have the 2025 Ram 1500 Rebel and 2024 Ford F150 Tremor. These are some of the off-road offerings from these two manufacturers. I borrowed these trucks from Larry H. Miller, Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram here in Sandy, Utah, and Larry H. Miller Super Ford in Salt Lake City. Be sure to check out the inventory. Both of these trucks are available, and I think they both have decent discounts. Let's go ahead and drive the Ford first. All right, let's go ahead and get down the road. I'm gonna do a startup here so you guys can hear it. So I'm gonna switch the volumes. You can get the 5-liter Coyote if you want more noise, but in this case here, okay, not great, not even good really. If you get the Raptor, however, the Raptor does have a more tuned exhaust. Oh yeah, let me go ahead and reset the trip too. I'm gonna go ahead and reset it from here. Actually, let me stop. I gotta stop in the same spot, so let me just pull off to the side here. So I gotta do the same thing in the last one, or in the next one I should say. Alrighty, we're good. We also have a green light, which is nice, so I can just wait for this light to turn green for the Ram, so it's pretty apples to apples. I cut my hand right there in the worst spot too. I don't know if you guys can see it, but golly, I cut my hand on something, and yeah, hurts, absolutely hurts. And I have to, when I get back, I gotta go get some napkins, but for now, it is what it is. But driving the Tremor for the first time for 2024, although there's nothing really new, nothing really excitingly different, it's still a good contender in the market. I will say though, I drove the Ram over here, and one thing I will tell you guys is, if you're going to get a Ram, go ahead and get the General Grabber tires that are on this Ford. They are absolutely amazing. They're soft, and you know, I was actually really impressed by the tires on the Ram because they are rated at 80 PSI, so they're basically an HD truck tire in a sense. They're LTs. These are not LTs on this Tremor, but that's not a bad thing. But yeah, this truck has great on-road manners with these tires. They're quiet, they're soft, and I don't even know what the PSI is on this truck. Let's go ahead and take a look. So 41 on the front and about the same out back. This is 42 in the rear passenger side tire. But yeah, we go around this curve here. I'm gonna give it a little bit more acceleration here. Oh yeah, this truck handles amazing. Ford does tune the shock absorbers on this truck, and I think they've done such a great job with the Tremor name because they do a lot of stuff in-house, right? Now obviously, because this is that twin turbo V6, you don't really hear any noises. You don't even hear any turbo noises, so it does get kind of boring in here, I will say. But overall, it's still a fantastic truck. Brakes, I have to talk about that later because I'm going a little too fast, but I'm going to go ahead and switch camera views here in a second. I want to show you guys the RPMs, but as I said, the suspension on this truck is probably the best in the market, I would say. It's really soft, and this truck does have the Blue Cruise. It has lane keep assist, and it just has a lot of nice features that you won't see on that Ram. Now on this video, I am going to do a 0 to 60 in sport mode, and I'm going to put it in automatic. Oh gosh, the Ford does not have auto 4-wheel drive, so that is a negative there. But let's go ahead and switch cameras so you guys can see the RPMs. I'm running at 65 miles an hour, 1500 RPMs. Now I'll say it later in the video, but 373 rear end, and so that's a pretty low gear. And honestly, like with these off-road trucks, I like that they give you these lower gears, because if you are planning to go rock crawling, you want to have that lower gear, obviously, because it's going to raise that RPM slightly. But this truck does have really good on-road manners, guys, and the interior layout is decent. I am going to be doing a comparison, hopefully. If I post this video before, then I didn't do it, but yeah, I will definitely be putting these up side by side so you guys can see some of the features. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Here are the RPMs at 75, so you're still pretty far below 2,000 RPM. So if you do live in areas where the speed limits are higher, then you should still get decent fuel economy with these trucks. But yeah, this truck has a really strong lane keep assist. Like if you get close to that line, that steering wheel is turning you back in really quickly. There is a little bit of road noise, I will admit, a little bit, not bad, but it's definitely there. Here are the numbers on the door. You guys can see the gross vehicle weight rating is 7,050 pounds, 18 by 7.5 wide wheels. And then here is the payload at 1,564 pounds. All in, this truck weighs 5,486 pounds on the curb, so pretty light. We're at the midpoint, and as you guys see, stop start is working. 20.4 MPGs. I don't think these trucks had stop start last year. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm looking for the button right now. It's right there. So yeah, stop start is there. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did these trucks have that function last year? I'm thinking they didn't. This is the Ecoboost engine, twin turbo V6, good for 400 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque. All that power does go through an 10-speed transmission, 373 rear end. Let's see how it performs. Here we go. Wow.
30. 60.
I put the truck in sport mode. Some of you guys get mad at me when I don't do that, but I figured I would do it today. And listen, I don't know if you guys heard, but I've done a lot of tests with these trucks. Normally I do it in eco mode, but you can hear the tires like skirting for like almost probably 15 feet. And then like, unfortunately though, once it got up into the high RPMs, it cut power. I should have probably turned off traction control, but it's probably good I didn't. But yeah, this truck has great performance. You guys heard the horsepower and torque numbers. Really good numbers there. And I think that this is a hard truck to beat. Like I know I've been giving Ford some accolades here a lot lately, but I have to admit they're doing great. Like I think this is one of the best trucks in terms of how it handles with these tires. Now I haven't driven a Trail Boss in a while, so maybe I'll have to do a test against this truck in the future with a Trail Boss to see how the new Territory MTs perform on that truck. Now if I were to put this up against a ZR2, that would be a good one too. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But let's go ahead and check out the noise level inside the interior. By the way, I'm going to show you guys all the performance numbers at the end of the chart. So, but 0 to 60 was 7.57 seconds. We are higher above elevation, so just keep that in mind. Here are the sound levels. .63 dB by the window. 65. I passed by a truck and it went up to 68. Out back, it's at the high end of 61. So yeah, not bad. This truck is really good. If you do a lot of highway driving, this is probably the truck you want to take right here. Really quiet. The steering feel, it did get stiffer with that sport. I wish you could set up a custom mode. I don't know if you could do that with the Fords. I don't see that there is a custom mode, but I always like to have tighter steering. I mean, it is good enough at this speed, but yeah, the RPMs are low. The steering feel is good. The noise inside the interior is decent. I'm really impressed by this truck. 17.7. So after we did that 0 to 60, I dropped down to about 16.5. So not too bad right there. Let's go ahead and drive the Ram. You guys ready for a cold start? Let's go ahead and do that. So here's the Ram. This is definitely worse. Wow. The Ford definitely has a better sound, but you know, when I revved it, it seems like this one had more power, but it could be the inline six design. But let's go ahead and get down the road. I'm going to reset the trip. I actually have a red light, so I'm going to just hang out right here until it turns green. That way it's kind of apples to apples. So what can I say? The very first thing I noticed getting out of the Ford into this one is the cab does seem a little bit bigger up front. And I think I like these seats better than Ford's. They feel a little bit bigger. The bowstring was a little bit better on the Ford Tremor for sure. But I definitely can tell there's a size difference with this cab here. Interesting. I think I like the layout of the screen better in the Ford though, I will say. All right, here we go. Light just turned green. I have a brake icon on my screen here. I have no idea why it's showing that. I may have to look up what the, oh, it just went away. Interesting. There's a homeless person across the street right now. But now let's go ahead and get on the highway. Let's see exactly how great this Ram Rebel is. Now, as I said earlier, I have driven this truck today, so I have a better gauge of what I'm going to tell you guys right now. I definitely can tell this engine is smoother. That's the very first thing that came to mind when I jumped into the Ram, is the smoothness of this. Even like the revs is smoother. I can't really explain it, but it definitely feels a lot smoother. And these have the Goodyear Wrangler dirt tracks. These are my least favorite tires. Now, there's a little hum from these tires, and that's just something that has always been there. I did a video a long time ago on this truck. It was my first time driving one, and I was so excited. And I can assure you guys, I don't like the way this truck handles. There's a lot of body roll. It needs stiffer sway bars, I think. They have pretty big ones, I will say. But I'm just very shocked by how this truck performs. Like going around a curve, I feel like I want to hit the brakes. Like when I was driving the Ford, I was like, I can go faster. So going around this curve here, I feel like I could go a little bit quicker, and I probably was going faster with the Ford compared to the Ram here. But you can clearly tell that this truck has a lot less control, and that's not a good thing. The brake feel is a lot better here compared to the Ford, for sure. I just hit the brakes now, and I feel as though they are a lot more confident and they have a better feel overall. But I think the biggest issue with these tires is that the max PSI on them is 80. So when you're running these lower tire pressures, it kind of translates to more of a spongier ride. So on the Ford, I believe the max PSI is like 50, 51. So when you're running a 40 PSI on that tire, you're actually almost close to the maximum PSI basically. And on these, you're 30 PSI away. So it just translates to a little bit more disengaging drive. Now this truck does have dynamic laser cruise control, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't have lane keep assist. Oh no, it does. I'm sorry. It does have lane keep assist. I'm sorry. It doesn't have like that self-driving that is available, however, on this truck. So I'm not sure if they made it available yet to order, but I know that they've talked about it for the 2025 Ram truck. But overall, I think that the transmission on the Ram, it's like the Ford, I guess. I can't say anything negative about either one. I think that they both perform pretty well. And I feel as though even behind this inline six, it's a little bit better. But let's go ahead and talk about the RPMs. The Ram has a 392, right? Which means at 65 miles an hour, we're just at 2,000 RPMs. But if we go 75, we're just over. So you guys see that we're like at 2,100 RPMs at 75 miles an hour. So ideally, you want to stay around 70 or less because you don't want to be at 2,000 RPMs. That's a high RPM in my opinion. And it's not because of the 10 speed versus the 8 speed. So I know some people are going to say that. It's really because of that 392 rear end. If this truck had a 355, it would probably be lower than the 4. You probably wouldn't be able to tell a huge difference, but the final gear in the 8 and 10 speed are probably a 0.6 something. So they're about the same, but it's that rear end which runs that RPM a little bit higher. But now obviously going off-road, this is going to do better. Now, one thing I do love about the Ram trucks is they give you these convex on both sides. That is not available for the Ford. And on the Ford, guys, here's another negative. You don't have the option of tow mirrors on the Tremor. I don't believe, maybe you do. I don't think you do though. But on the Ram, you can get the tow mirrors. Although my humble opinion is, I hate the way these trucks look with the tow mirrors. Just my opinion. Here are the numbers for the Ram. The gross fuel weight rating is 7,100 pounds. Wheels are 18 by 8 wide, and then 1,477 pounds of payload. And this truck weighs just a little bit more at 5,623 pounds. We just jumped off the interstate. We have not done the 0-60 yet, as you guys can tell. But you see where we are for the MPG. I'm actually a little bit shocked by this. But then maybe I'm not. It has lower gearing. I think it has a little bit more knobbier tires. And we're definitely behind in terms of fuel economy. So I'm excited to see how this all shakes out personally. I think that this truck definitely has a high spot because, as I said, I think I like the interior so much better in this one. Now, under the hood of the Ram is the standard output Hurricane inline 6 3-liter twin turbo engine, good for 420 horsepower and 469 pound-feet of torque. All this power goes through an 8-speed transmission, and this truck is going to have a standard 392. Let's see how this truck performs up to 60. Here we go. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I was not expecting that. I actually messed that up. I probably could have gotten another 1/10 of a second up. Wow. That was insane. I literally was not expecting that. My foot came off the gas pedal for a second because it like jolted forward. Now, that was in sport mode, and it puts it automatically in 4-wheel drive auto. That was, oh wow, good job, Ram. Holy smokes. Something flew back there too. Like wow, that was insane, guys. I feel like I don't know what just happened just now. That was crazy. Wasn't expecting that. So high above elevation, this truck performs extremely well. Let me slow down just a little bit. It's about 65 here. $67 on the high end, like 67.8, 0.9. $64 out back. So this truck is louder for sure. Like I told you guys, it doesn't have as much wind noise, but you can hear that hum from the tires so much better. The stop-start function has not come on yet either, which is surprising. I've been running the AC unit about the same here. But yeah, we're definitely behind on fuel economy for sure. That's where the biggest hiccup is with this truck, is the fuel economy is off. But we should be back in a little bit, and I'll show you guys where we end off at. Just pull back in. Here's where we are for fuel economy. Definitely behind the Ford, but I must admit, this truck performed a lot better than I expected. And that was actually the first time that the stop start came on, I believe. I don't remember it coming on any other time. Well guys, I was actually shocked by this test. I really expected the Ford to win the 0 to 60, in part to that torque off the line, but I think having the automatic all-wheel drive really helped. So hopefully when the RHO comes out, they'll have a Raptor here, and obviously I'm assuming they're gonna have an RHO available, but if they do have those trucks available, I would love to see what that high output Hurricane will do against that high output Ecoboost. But I'm really impressed by both of these trucks. I really think that Ram should consider a different tire, because having an 80 PSI max does make this truck handle, I think, a little bit worse compared to the ones on the Ford. But be sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure your bell notifications are on. See you guys soon.